See, in our story, I do not think that Jesus condemns Martha for her serving. What he corrects is her attitude in it. Jesus doesn't tell Martha she shouldn't be doing what she's doing, and instead she ought to drop everything and come and sit on the floor with Mary. He doesn't say that. What he does say addresses her heart and her attitude in serving. Oftentimes, our greatest gifts can become our greatest weaknesses. Often things that we're best at are the things that will fail in most miserably. It's in this case, it's like when you overuse your gift, you use it too much, or if you lose God's heart in the gift, in the serving, God's heart's meant to be the fuel behind it. If you lose that, then it turns into a weakness. It turns into a liability. So let's look and see how this happens to Martha. Verse 40 says that Martha was distracted with much serving. And so she went up to him and she says, Lord, do you not care that my sisters left me to serve all alone? I'm doing everything, all by myself. Tell her then to help me. First says she got distracted. What happens with distraction? What happens with distraction is that our focus gets turned away. It gets turned from one thing to another. We're attracted to something else. It's so easy to get distracted, isn't it? I mean, especially when our phone is going off and buzzing a million times a day. I mean, in your pocket or your purse. Or think about I get distracted every time that trolley bell goes off. I don't know about you when I'm preaching, Or on my computer when that little red circle thing pops up and says I've got a new email. I just can't help myself. It's every time I go open it, and it's never anything good, really. It's spam or something, and then if it was something else, then my whole mind gets that I need to address oh my gosh, and I'm completely distracted. Distraction's a real thing, isn't it? So first Martha is distracted. Then she starts to feel busy and feels overwhelmed because she's doing a lot. Much serving, right? Interesting, we live in a busy day and age and a busy culture, but busyness isn't a new thing. It's been around for hundreds of years, getting busy. Kevin DeYoung has the great little book that I like a lot. Check it out if you want. It's called Crazy Busy, a mercifully short book on a really big problem. So here's what Kevin DeYoung says. My life is crazy busy. I don't say that as a boast or a brag. I'm not trying to win any contest. I'm just stating the facts, or at least describing the way that my life feels almost every single day. On most days, my responsibilities, requirements, and ambitions add up to much more than I can handle. When someone asks me how I'm doing, my response almost always includes the word busy. How did I get so busy? I've bemoaned my poor planning and poor decision-making. I've complained about my schedule. I've put in slipshod work because there wasn't time for any other kind. I've missed too many quiet times and been too impatient with my kids. I've taken my wife for granted and fed important relationships leftovers. I've been too busy to pursue God with my whole heart, soul, mind, and strength. In other words, I've likely been just like you. You guys feel that? We get busy, don't we? It's a busy season. Kids are back to school, all kinds of stuff going on. It's easy to get really overwhelmed, which can then lead us to some pretty dire feelings. Look how Martha starts to feel. She says, do you not care? You ever feel like nobody cares? Nobody knows what you're going through? How you feel? She says she's been left to serve alone. You ever feel all alone? All by yourself? You can be around a lot of people and feel extremely alone. Martha here thinks everybody should be doing what she's doing because they're not. She starts to get really upset and seems like angry. Her feelings are kind of bubbling and they're rising and they're about to boil over. She's getting bitter and she's getting resentful and she's getting frustrated to the point that, she's had it. She starts criticizing. She criticizes Mary and then she criticizes Jesus. Uh, Mary isn't doing anything, and Jesus doesn't care. That's what she says. When you get to that place, not a good place to be. You just start finding fault with everyone and everything. You just become a grumpy fault finder. And sometimes it's so easy to see the faults and failures in other people, and it's the hardest to see our own, isn't it? It's easy to criticize. I know this one well. It's so easy for me to find what's wrong with everything and what needs to be fixed, and just get so focused on the problems. But the truth is, it's a horrible feeling. It's a horrible way to live. What are we to do? Let's look at what Jesus says and does. Verse 41 and 42. The Lord answered her, Martha, Martha, if you're anxious and troubled about many things, there's one thing's necessary. So first, Jesus answers her. Notice that. I mean, he's in the middle of teaching, but he stops what he's saying and he responds to her. He doesn't ignore her. He listens to her and replies. And second, look what he does. He validates her feelings. He simply acknowledges that what she feels is significant. I mean, I think his tone here is very kind. I think there's kind words. And he says her name twice, Martha, Martha. You're feeling really anxious and troubled, aren't you? Man, so many times my wife will tell me, something all about the day or something that's bothering her. I automatically jump into fix-it mode. Okay, well, here's what we need to do. And she's like, I just wanted you to listen to me. Right? The ladies in the room, you're like, yeah. Husbands are like, yeah, we've had that fight. Like, yeah. I'm sure in the moment when he said those words, she just automatically started feeling better. Then he just says something really simple. He's like, just one thing's necessary. What's the one thing? What's the one thing? It's him. It's him. Just focusing on Jesus, serving him and loving him, even if you're in the kitchen and you're getting dinner ready. Like, I don't think he's telling her to stop what she was doing and asking her to come sit down like Mary. He was simply reminding her of the heart and the reason of why she was doing what she was doing. She was doing it for Jesus and for his friends, and that's all that really mattered, the heart of service. But she got her eyes off of that. She got distracted. She got her eyes off of the goal and reason of why she was even serving at all and who she was serving. When it comes down to it, in life, things are pretty simple. We can either live for God or we can live for ourselves. We can either live for God and his glory or for our own glory and our own kingdoms. If we want a good and happy life, then just one thing is necessary: to direct and connect all of our motivations to doing it for God, that everything is for him, that one purpose and one goal. If we just keep Jesus in front of us as just the one thing, we'll be all right. Life will be good. We'll be okay. So, just to check in, how is this hitting you? What's coming to mind? Some things connected to some things that God's Spirit may be trying to say to you right now. I mean, are there certain things in your life that have been distracting you and just pulling your attention away and off of God? And so you're worried about a lot of things. And what God wants for this morning is just to set your eyes on him. Hey, you've been doing too much, and you need to stop and slow down. Maybe there's just some things you need to say no to, or some things you've already said yes to, and you need to tell people, you know what, I can't do that this week. Maybe we can do it another time. Do you feel alone? God doesn't care about you and doesn't know what you're going through? You're having a really hard time in this season of life. Oh, God cares. Oh, I want you to know that God promises never to leave his children alone. Says, I'll never leave you nor forsake you. Jesus says, I am with you always to the end of the age. Jesus is ready and willing to take our worries and our cares. Just come to me, you weary and heavy laden. I'll give you rest. I'll take I'll take it on my shoulders for you. You don't need to worry. It's why he came, to take the load, to minister to us, to ultimately to save. Oh, how I want us to know that today. Listening is better than hearing, and if we would listen to the words of Jesus, I believe we would hear him say to us, I love you. I love you. I know what you feel and what you're going through. I'm with you.